There is a shocking new report that is coming from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics that is reporting that 300,000 jobs held by black women have been lost. And that's more than just an economic data point that we can just skirt over and not have a conversation about. This is major. And if this trend continues, the long-term impact of families, on children, and even us as men could be significant. So let's dive deep and get active on this one.
To the economy now, where staggering numbers have been released surrounding black women in the labor force. A new report shows more than 300,000 black women have left the workforce in just the last several months. That's according to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. Joining me now is gender economist Katika Roy to break this all down and why.
Now, the title here is slightly misleading. It says left the workforce, but the majority of them have gotten either fired or laid off. One of my boys was actually just telling me not too long ago that he noticed that his rate of hey big head texts coming in increase exponentially. Let's go.
They're leaving. Katika, thank you so much for being with us. You recently wrote an article where you say that this isn't happening by accident. Why do you think it is happening?
This is happening because of cuts to public sector positions. So if you look at the federal labor force, Black women make up just over 12% of the federal labor force. It's about double their representation in the labor force overall. And when you have targeted cuts up to 50% in organizations such as the Department of Education and HHS, you're not just trimming the fat, you're actually cutting the economic backbone for Black women.
Wow. And so what are some of the spillover effects from all of this?
Well, one of the things that we know is that there is a connection between women's labor force participation and GDP. So just Black women's labor force participation has dropped by just over 2% in the last 3 months. And that has sucked over $37 billion out of US GDP.
They spend too much damn money.
So this is the economic cost of gender policy ignorance.
This is really fascinating because do you think that most people are unaware of the actual impacts of things like this?
Absolutely. So when we often think about women's issues or Black women's issues, we think of it as an over there problem. It's not. It's an everybody problem. When our economy grows, that has more jobs and more income for everyone. So we know, for instance.
I'm sorry. Is that? Is she welding? Stop lying.
That has more jobs and more income for everyone. So we know, for instance, overall, that for every 1 percentage point that women leave the labor force, there's a $146 billion hit to GDP.
Oh my gosh. And so we've talked about the consequences, but is there an upside to all of this? Are we seeing women pivoting to entrepreneurship as they're leaving the workforce? What then are they doing?
You know, that's a great question. And the truth is, we don't know where all of the 300,000 Black women that have actually been pushed out of the labor force have gone. We know that some of them have gone into entrepreneurship, which is not only because of luxury, but it's actually because of survival. And this is really a testament to their resilience, but it also shows the rigidity in our traditional employment systems.
Are there any other groups that we are seeing largely impacted in this way in the labor workforce?
Not to this extent. So I track all of the data, as you can imagine, month over month by gender and race and ethnicity. And I started to see this trend about 3 months ago with this really precipitous drop in Black women out of the labor force. And this is a huge hit. And historically, just to give you a sense of the historical context, this is the first time in years that Black women's labor force participation has fallen below Latina's labor force participation.
Wow. It's really fascinating to see these numbers, to hear you explain all of it and break down the real world impacts on our GDP and the economy at large. Katika Roy, thank you for what you do and thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
Wow.
To the economy now.
Winter is no longer coming. It's officially here. I want you guys to let me know down in the comment box if your rate of hey big head texts, hey stranger texts have gone up over the past several months. But let's try to dissect real quick why this is such a huge issue. Now, the reasons for this is going to be politically motivated. We all know that, especially with the cuts to DEI with the new administration. But reasons aside, let's get into what the impacts are. We know that looking at the illegitimacy rates, many of these women are the sole breadwinners of their household. So losing that income is going to create financial emergencies for the lots of these women or these families. We can hear her talking about some of the impacts, which is the reduction in spend. Now, it's going to go to reduction, whether it be food, housing, or just even education or extracurricular activities for the family. The young lady on the right also made reference to where else they're going to get jobs. She referenced, I guess, like gig work. Changes within this administration may single-handedly undermine the boss be girl, independent, don't need no man movement. And I know it's going to be different for the men that are in long-term relationships with these women, as well as if you're married to them, because for y'all it's just going to increase the financial pressure until she can find something worthwhile to do. But for the women that have built their identities around being independent, I don't need no man, when the job security changes, then men, listen to me, the dating market changes. They are not interdependent. They are directly related. So the same type of woman who it was beyond her to submit or be cooperative or just see men as options are going to look at you a little bit differently now. All right, and stand on business and hold the damn line. Now, this is about to be eating season. If you're a young man that's already of medium high to high value, all right, if you're financially stable, focused on progression within life, focused on being a strong leader, you're going to be in exceptionally high demand. Now, what's interesting to me about all of this as well is that RIP to Kevin, he talked about this so many damn years ago. The brother keeps on coming back to us and continues to give us life lessons. Let's review. Now, this comes from his show titled Winter is Coming, streamed in July of 2021, making this 4 years old. Let's listen.
He's been trying to tell folks that this global recession is about to happen. And what's about to happen has never been happened before, because we have had people who haven't had a job, who haven't had work for over a year and a half, haven't paid rent for over a year and a half. And they're going to go back and find out that they've been automated. They've been downsized. Companies haven't lost a lot of money. And in September of 2020, we had something called a She Session where we lost 880,000 jobs that are female. I'm going to have lots of data this week because you guys have been living in a fantasy land. You think that it's not going to happen. You think there's going to be some kind of bailout. There's going to be something else. There's going to be nothing. People right now are being put on the streets. In Dallas-Fort Worth, the constables are moving people out, putting their stuff on the front yard. You want to know what's coming, ladies? They're decriminalizing the oldest profession in the book. In New York City right now, the governor, the mayor said we're not going after people who are loitering in the streets.
You know, in the original news video, they talked about other jobs that they might be taking up, or rather they said that they didn't account for where they might be going. And some of them will be going to the oldest profession in the book, both from an intentional perspective and then some of it from a covert perspective, tricking you, hiding within relationships long enough to get their feet up under them until the coast is clear, and then kicking the transactional relationship to the curb. Let's go.
So, like it or not, some parts of Manhattan, some parts of the 5 boroughs have been turned into right there in the streets. Go to World Star, you'll see the video yourself. Broad daylight, transactions happening on a stoplight. Guess what? That's New York. Guess where else it's about to come? California. States across the country, because why? There's not enough money to give to people. And if you're a woman and you have a regular job, you know, let's just look at it. If you were not an essential worker during the pandemic, you are at risk. I was in Neiman Marcus the day they shut the world down, and I had never seen panic like that before. And all those women's eyes, because many of them have been with that company for 15, 20 years. All they had done is retail. Neiman Marcus is on the verge of bankruptcy, and the only thing that saved Neiman Marcus was the pandemic. Those women over there know they're coming back. And when the world stops again, many of these 40-year-old women are not going to have a job to go to and have no skills in the environment. Ladies, winter is coming.
I'm gonna leave a link to this Kevin video down in the description box just so you guys can go back and listen to all of his thoughts in regards to the matter. His brother was a fortune teller. Black women dominated in jobs at a federal level, but then also within education, healthcare support, administrative roles, customer service, and the majority of these roles, Kevin didn't even know that this was coming, have been cut due to policy changes. But at the same time, these are the hardest ones hit by AI, automation, thus corporate cutbacks. And the administration ain't gonna be changing, at least for the next 3 years. And AI ain't going a damn place. Not all, but many of these women have built their careers on jobs that, at least at the time, seemed stable. But many of them are feeling the sting of avoiding traditional relationships so that they can be hyper independent. Now, some of that is biting them in the butt. Now, what also interests me about this topic, you guys remember like a couple of years ago how teen pregnancy was seemingly always within the headlines, right? Entire community programs were being built in order to stop it, right? There was teaching sex education within school, providing teens with contraceptives in high schools. Well, now the talk of the town is not teen pregnancy, but women foregoing pregnancy until they're in their 40s.
The fertility rate in the U.S. has dropped to an all-time low. From 2023 to 2024, birth rates declined across all age groups under 35, except for mothers in their 40s, which increased 2% from 2023 to 2024. That's according to a new CDC report. This is another recent CDC report notes that babies born to Black moms and rural moms and teen moms have the highest death rates in the U.S. So for more on this, let's bring in emergency psychiatrist and lifestyle medicine doctor, Dr. Adjoa Smalls-Monty. Thank you so much for being with us, Dr. Adjoa. Over the past 2 decades, the birth rate in the U.S. has been on a steady decline, with women either choosing not to have children or waiting until later in life. What do you make of these changes, and why do you think that we're seeing it happen?
So thank you for having me, Janae. The rates have declined. Many reasons for that are that people have planned their pregnancies a little bit more. We have access to contraception. People have prioritized their careers. People are also thinking about the financial resources that are required to raise a family. And so that is one of the reasons why a few of the reasons why the birth rates have been declining in the United States.
Now, we already know that the longer that you wait to have children, and this is actually both on the male and the female side, however, significantly more important on the longer that the female waits, but the longer that you wait, the increase of potential birth defects or not being able to have children at all. And you heard the young lady say it, that many women are foregoing families or children because they're deciding on the career over family. And this is where you get the hyper independent thinking, and as well as some of the media around how men are non-essential to family. Shit, I remember a young lady that I used to work with that was a G at her job within corporate America, but wanted to have children. So just asked her last relationship to give her one, and this guy did. And the deal was that she wasn't going to get him for child support. And I guess he also wanted a kid too, and agreed, and never ended up paying child support, nor really being in the child's life. But she just wanted to just pop one out because she longed for that family feeling, but didn't think that a father was necessary. Nevertheless, I think that having a declining birth rate is alarming. But I do think that these certain changes as it refers to jobs, which is going to change the dating market, should shift, or I should say, hopefully should shift some of these numbers, because maybe they're, still going to carry this hyper independent mask and instead be doing a lot of entrepreneurial work, gig work, and still push off child rearing up into their 40s. But I do think that for many of them, they're going to continue on considering the importance of working for someone else's organization, or the importance of being a boss bee in modern times, when your job can just be so quickly ended. So anyway, there's a lot of changes coming, and the purpose of doing this is to not only remind you of the importance of understanding the trends, the macroeconomic trends that are happening within our society today, but within understanding the market, understanding how it's going to impact you. So just as I referenced before, a couple of my friends are getting them, hey, big head texts more often than what they're used to. But do understand, my guys, you must put them through the litany, the battle-tested litany of questions to understand their true intention. Because don't simp. Don't just rescue someone because they're in trouble. Choose wisely who you choose to build with. But all right, guys, that's where I'm gonna leave this video right now. Let me know what you think. Do you think that this is going to increase families, the rate of children being born earlier in life? Do you think that this is going to quell some of the modern values around being strong and independent? Let me know what you guys think down in the comment box down below. I think this should make for fruitful conversation. And until next time, I'll see you. All right, y'all. Peace.